Hello guys, my name is Katarina from Garden Design Tools, and today's video it's about top 5 reasons why renderings are important for your garden or landscaping business, okay, or garden design business, whatever business you are relating with gardens, why you should really invest in renderings and good quality images. Okay, so we're gonna start by number 1, visualization from 2D to 3D. Okay, so normally, and it's still a very traditional method of presenting your ideas, okay, you always work with 2D plans normally. Okay, so in here is not actually good because you can actually see some perspective already, but the renderings can show you, make it a way that your clients can visualize, not just in their imagination, because it's difficult sometimes for the clients to imagine. You know the plants, you know spacing, you know how things are going to relate, but getting that message through your client can be really hard. Okay, so in 2D, sometimes that is very hard for the clients to actually read the 2D. Okay, so the 3D renderings can actually make the client imagine himself inside the space. Important things to have in consideration when you're doing your images as well: make a few of them eye level. Okay, as well as in the animations, make them eye level so the client can really start having a feeling of the place. Okay, so that's number 1. It's it's the way that you can actually create an idea of a garden and pass it through your client, and he can actually visualize, not from in the 3D, that's going to make it much more work for him, but in 3D. Okay, number 2, plants and textures. Okay, good programs, and I'm not saying this is the only one, but this is the one I work, and this is one I have the course in, so I'm going to talk about Lumion, of course, but you have other programs that you can actually have a feeling of textures and colors of the plants. Okay, so this is really important, and this is one of the reasons I really like Lumion, because it has a good, and together with the 3D warehouse, it has a good library of vegetation, of plant material. Okay, it's something that doesn't happen in other programs that concentrate much more on textures for architecture, for architects. Okay, so this having the plants and textures and being able to add to your Lumion library with 3D warehouse from SketchUp plants, for example, it's a way of just showing your client how the plant's gonna eventually look like. Okay, very important quick tip outside this reason to why renderings are important is manage expectations. Always make sure the client knows that the plants in your renderings are in their mature development. Okay, they are not the way you're going to be planting them in the beginning. Okay, so there is not because sometimes the renderings are so great, and I had this problem. Sometimes the renderings are so great that if you don't make sure that the client knows, okay, this is how the plant's going to eventually look like, but until there, it's going to be maybe a year or 2. Okay, just make sure you manage the expectations very clearly when you're doing great renderings, you know. Number 2 reason is the number 3, sorry. So first, visualization from 2D to 3D. Second, plants and textures and colors, okay, that you can pass through your 3D renderings, as well as size, of course, you know. Reason number 3, georeferencing. Georeferencing is really important in your garden, and what I mean by that is that you actually can locate your client's garden in that particular place in the world they are in. Okay, so when you're actually doing the images, and Lumion has in the settings, when you're doing from sun to shade to night and in different times of day, okay, you're gonna be able to show to your client where the shadow is gonna be, like at midday, at 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, at 5, at 6, or in the morning. So that's really something really important, especially for private gardens, okay? When you're working very closely to the house, and maybe you have a lounge area that's always in shadow, for example, and you see that when you actually position your model, you position with the GPS reference, and we teach this in the course how to do it. When you're doing the renderings, the actual still images, and the lounge area you've chosen, it's always in shadow, or is always in shadow in the afternoon. That's when they are in the swimming pool, something like this. Okay, so just make that. Have that in consideration, and that's reason number 3. Okay, reason number 4, it's one of my favorites, because I think that's what differentiates the images. It's good quality textures. Okay, so I've done a previous video about how to get textures from sites and but not just good quality textures, but you can actually customize them for the materials you actually suggesting to your client to implement in the garden project. Okay, so I think that's something really, really important in garden design. So not only you can make the space look great when with the plants and everything, but you can have realistic textures of what you want to show to your client, what you want to suggest, and you can quickly change them. Imagine that you have 2 options of textures, or 2 options of deck, or between deck and ceramic tiling or something like this. You can quickly change a material for another one and do 3 or 3 images just for the client to compare how it will look like in the garden. Okay, so that's something, I think it's amazing. And if you're doing your renderings or your 3D visualizations in Photoshop or something like this, it's not very easy if the client thinks, but I wanted to try with this type of deck, or this type of pavement. You have to go and do again. It's not a Photoshop montage or something like this. Okay, so if you're hand drawing it, it's not so practical, and it's not as quick as doing just a change in Lumion. Okay. And number 5 is, okay, this is one of my favorites as well, but is using real world furniture. Okay, so if you know this type of chairs, this is from Ketal. I think it's Beta collection, but with the help of the 3D warehouse, this is not inside Lumion. Okay, this is something you add to your Lumion library. In 3D warehouse, or for example, Ketal has an amazing website that you just register as an architect or landscape architect, and you have access to the 3D models. Okay, and it's just a question of opening the models first in SketchUp or another 3D software that you're using, working a little bit the textures, because sometimes what happens if it's a model straight from the brand website is it comes all very detailed, but all one texture. Okay, so the pillows come the same texture as the frame of the chair in this case. So you open first in SketchUp, you differentiate the 2 textures, or if you want pillows from 3 different textures, you differentiate them. Okay, you add them to Lumion, and you add the textures that you got from the brand website. So the website, if you go to Ketal website and you register yourself, you can see it's an amazing. They have the models plus the textures available for that models, for the pillows, for example, textures available for the frame of the chair, whatever. It's just they have a lot of options. Okay, and you can customize them as you see fit for your project to suggest, or if the client says, but I wanted pillows another texture or something like this, you can quickly change them as well. Okay, so that's my final reason. The number 5 is using real world furniture in your gardens. Okay, you can work with brands. Okay, all major brands. If they don't have available, contact them. They have the 3D models. Okay, If you're not working with a very known brand, contact the brand you're working with. Try to check out with them if they have the actual model. If not, choose something similar. I will go for something basic then, okay? Then telling your client, look, for him to visualize the proportions, okay? Basic, but more or less the size, and then show them pictures, okay? Don't add something that's not on your market or is not available, or that you know for sure your client can't afford, okay? Because for example, Ketal is an expensive brand, they don't, etc. Gloucester, one of my favorites, but they are expensive brands, so you know, make sure that the client can afford as well. If not, go for one of the most basic, like white loungers, for example, and you're gonna be able to afford to find that in your market for sure, because every brand has them. Okay, so thank you guys. Please check out the website for the course. So in the website you can find all the courses. Okay, I'm just gonna add 2 or 3 videos from in the SketchUp one, because 2019 version is out, but there is really nothing major different from this version. 2018 was the version I actually filmed the course. Okay, and yeah, check it out. We have our blog as well and all the videos in YouTube, so check it out. Okay, see you guys, see you next time.